there's one other piece of news I saw that I just wanted to, quickly
Well,
talk to
yeah.
you about. Did you see the leaked cover of the college football 26 game?
Yeah, I can bitch and moan about that too. What?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. So, last year's cover, I played the game religiously when it came out. Quinshon Judkins was the only Ohio State Buckeye on the cover.
Barely.
Based off
Barely.
Well, you could see him. Based on this one, Jeremiah Smith is front row. He is a front row guy. Caleb Downs is in it, and Ryan Day's in it. So they got 3 Buckeyes there. What I found hilarious was they had James Franklin standing in front of Ryan Day.
Yeah.
Like, he is someone that's like
not just James. Not just James.
Yeah.
Right next to him is Nick Singleton in front of Caleb Downs.
Yeah.
The second best football player in college football.
Yeah. Yeah. I found that wildly interesting. But also does this mean, I'm assuming this means that coaches are actually going to be in the game now, which would be kind of interesting. So if for those Ohio State fans that still hate Ryan Day, you can fire him, I guess, once the game comes out.
You know what's funny? I want the. I'm gonna text it to you. I found this hilarious clip from the Colin Cowherd's podcast with what's his name? But I saw Darko post it, Michigan State guy, and it's like a video of them just bad talking Ryan Day. And about how Ohio State's going to look at an early exit from the playoff.
I saw that floating around.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Last night I actually watched the Ohio State Tennessee game this morning. Actually, highlights. I watched the highlights from it. I don't know how many times I rewind that first Jeremiah touchdown. It's just on repeat, dude.
Yeah, no, we'll be watching that for years to come. I just want to get your quick thoughts on that before we bring them in.
Yeah.
You want me to go ahead and bring in our next caller?
Let's do it. I'm very curious on what a stereotypical Buckeye is. I hope it's me.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's going on?
Good. What's going on?
All right. Hey, man, first-time caller. Always appreciate the show. I was actually going to call and talk about something else, but then you brought up something very interesting. You brought up the college football, picture, the front page allegedly that they're going to put on. And did you guys see that Underwood is going to be on there?
Underwood is on there.
Yes.
Which is
oh my God. Holy cow. What? I mean, I'm not surprised anymore, right? I mean,
look, it's one of those NIL deals that his agent was maybe negotiate.
And maybe this is my scarlet glasses showing through. My understanding is there's a bunch of Michigan alums on that development team for EA. Because, I mean, we used to have, think of the players we used to have on the cover. When we had a running back on that cover, it was Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Last year we had a running back on the cover, and it was Donovan Edwards, who had less than 600 yards of rushing in 2023.
When the last version of the game was Denard
Robinson.
Yeah,
but he deserved that. He was an electric player.
Sure.
Okay, he deserved that. I'm okay with that. But you put a guy with less than 600 yards of rushing on the front cover.
Oh, it's not even that. It's not even that. This is one of my favorite Donovan Edwards stats to just throw out there. After that good season he had in 2022, in 2023 he followed that up with, I believe, 4 games under 2 yards a carry, 5 games under just 4 yards a carry, and then in 2 games under 2 yards a carry, 3 yards a carry. That's what he had. The guy is average. He's average.
And you put him on the front page, the front cover, my bad, on the front freaking cover of college football, 24. What are we doing? And then you have a guy who has never played a down of college football. And he's on, and granted, we don't have like single front covers anymore. It's not like there's one person on the cover anymore. It's not what it was. But you have Jeremiah Smith. That's good. At least he's Jeremiah Smith's front forefront on that, which is good.
Yeah.
But freaking James Franklin up front. You want to talk about third base, Ryan Day. Third place, James Franklin over here. on the front. And then you have a guy who's never played a down of football, and he's on the front cover of, the game that used to be, the front cover used to be reserved for what would have been considered one of at least one of the best players in the entire sport. And we're putting some 17 or 18-year-old kid on there who hasn't shown anything, who's going to a school that is not known for developing quarterbacks.
And that's something that he actually mentioned when he initially committed to LSU. He's like, well, tell me a Michigan quarterback that's been developed in the NFL. I'll wait. And then all the Michigan fans started to bury that video. But, to your point about the cover of the game, it was interesting. Troy Smith was never on the cover. He won the Heisman Trophy.
No.
On the cover.
Do you know who the cover was on that year? Do you know who was on the cover that year? Was that 2006?
That would have been 2006.
It was...
Well, it would have been 2007 because back then you had to be out of college in order to get on, right?
It was the dude from Utah. I think it was crap.
Yeah, that was when Urban Meyer was there, and they were actually good.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, that was when Urban Meyer was there, and they got screwed out of the BCS because they weren't they weren't a big school, so they couldn't make the BCS championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, you know what? 2006, you know what they did instead? In 2006, they put Desmond Howard on the cover.
Really?
Yeah, and then 2007, it was Reggie Bush.
They must have still been Michigan alums back then,
And you know why I think Desmond Howard was on that cover?
No.
That might have been the season when they first started putting historic teams on the game.
That was the first year that they had the race for the Heisman, yes. Mm-hmm. That was the first time that they added that.
Those games are great. Those games are great.
I was on the sports games at the time.
I used to plug my PS2 into the Ethernet so I could play online. Yeah. But
that's right. In 05 was Larry Fitzgerald. So it's typically 2 years after, you've had a really good season. So again, Troy Smith wasn't on there in 08. Mm-hmm. Like won a Heisman Trophy, don't do anything.
I mean, dude, we've had a lot of guys that could have been on. I mean, after that championship run, Zeke could have been on there. He wasn't.
Yeah. Well, that was after. That was after that ended. It ended with 2014.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And Zeke would have had to be on the 2015 one. Well, and there was no 2015 one.
Yeah, actually, he would have had to been on the 2016 one because he was still playing in 2015.
You're right. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, that's interesting. I'm glad you guys brought that up before I jumped on because I was going to go another direction. But if we're done with this one, putting freshmen on there and some weird, interesting Michigan stuff going on the last couple of years with the covers.